6:52 at KPEL. Bernie and I mentioned a bit earlier today about kind of the Facebook uproar that has happened overnight. Really in regards, we keep tracing it back, and it's going back to one story from one TV station in New Orleans, kind of where it is coming from. And
one blogger who got his stuff wrong.
Exactly, and one blogger,
people make mistakes, but...
The whole Cajun Navy thing, they keep calling it a proposed legislation, but even from back with our interview that we had last week with Jonathan Perry, it was more of a conversation to even find out what the actual laws are. Nothing, it is my understanding, is even written at this point.
No.
We do have Jonathan Perry on the phone with us this morning. Good morning.
This is the man. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, I've been better.
I would imagine so. What I find that I think is horrible is that people turn this into something personal against you. They said all these kinds of things about you and your family. You took it all in stride until the temperature and the tone turned, and people actually, things were said about your family. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and the bottom line is that if anybody takes the time, whether they're in Shreveport, Baton Rouge, or New Orleans, to listen to the interview you and I did last week, they saw the intention on what we were talking about. Legislation can't even be pre-filed, I think, until February.
Yeah.
But one of the bloggers got out there and said legislation had been filed, and I was regulating taxing.
Yeah, that's what I thought
all
was
the fees. Yeah.
And all this other stuff. And typically I don't do any type of rebuttal. But when it's going to get to the point of people attacking my family, my legislative assistant, and the emails, it just, if you disagree with me, that's one thing. But find out the facts, and then after the facts, if you still disagree with me, I'm fine. But telling me to do some of the things that y'all want me to go do, it's really not, it's not professional for one thing.
Yeah.
And it's not the intent of what we talked about. It's just not.
No, and we spitballed tons of ideas, and we spitballed all kinds of ideas and talked about all different things. But the number one thing that we talked about, which is what everyone has talked about since Katrina, is that the government should not get in the way when people are volunteering and putting their own lives at risk to save the life of another human being.
Correct. And one of the biggest complete misunderstandings that's going on is people don't understand, like right now, okay, if I say, look, I'm not doing anything, that's fine, y'all, just keep it as is. The next disaster, we're going to run into the same issue.
Yeah. It's
not going away. And so what people don't understand is, they're going to do it anyway. They're just going to get in their boats and they're going to go. And I'm not saying they won't. The problem is they're breaking the law. And my intent is to remove that so they're not breaking the law and that they can assist law enforcement without a fee, without a tax,
Right.
And the other thing was, it may, and I'm saying it may be that something has to be done as simple as signing a waiver prior to the disaster. So when you do come across law enforcement, you can say, look, I signed the waiver. Okay, you can go through. If not, they're not going to let you go through, and we're going to run into the same issue. That's all it was about. But my goodness. You would swear I was trying to do something bad.
I think the surprising part to me with this whole thing has been, your voting record's public. You've been in legislature for almost a decade. Looking at your voting record, one of the more conservative voters that we have, especially from our area. Yet it's those conservative voters, it seems like, are attacking you the most, and it's due to some misconceptions. Is that pretty much what you chalk it up to?
That's 100%. I don't know that I've gotten any hate mail, hate calls, or hate text, emails, anything other than from Republicans.
So these are,
and I'm a Republican.
Are these Republican lawmakers as well?
No.
Okay.
Most of these people, truthfully, aren't even from Acadiana. Here's the problem.
That's right.
It's not fair.
That's
it's not fair to my constituents for these people to completely bash, and then my constituents say, "Wait, what is Jonathan doing?"
Yeah.
My constituents need to know what I'm trying to do to help them. The ones that are out of here, look, misery loves company. Whatever. If you don't like your life, I can't help you with that. But I need to set the record straight for the people who put me in office so they know I'm doing what I need to do.
Right.
And I think, Bernie and I also noticed another kind of weird coincidence that it seems as if the people who are complaining about it, I don't know that I saw one person who was complaining and said, I was in a boat and turned around and I don't agree. When you're in that situation and you feel completely helpless because you're ready to go, you're going to have a much different feeling about it, in general, because you felt so helpless, I would imagine, on the side of the road.
Well, and I can show you about 15 Facebook messages, emails, and texts I've gotten from people who actually were turned away.
Oh, okay, yeah, and
that's
so those
the difference
people too. Now, let me ask you this: did WWL call you and interview you about this?
No.
Did the hayride?
Let me back up and say this: WWL tried twice yesterday to get in touch with me. And
after they wrote the story.
After they wrote, and I'm not returning their call because whatever I say is going to be taken out of context, just like it was again. You notice I'm talking to you, right?
Yes,
because
sir.
You're going to say, okay, what is the true intent? I don't get that from other areas.
Yeah. So nobody called you before they wrote their stories, including the hayride?
Specifically, the hayride did not call.
So as is typical, misinformation gets spread on Facebook like it's fact, and what happened in our true conversation and your true intent never got through. I cannot believe they even, wow, that's, whoa. Okay. I'm just kind of speechless. I'm sorry that happened to you, especially,
Look, like I said, it's part of it. It comes with the job. When people run for office, this is part of it. But my 15-year-old daughter's my 11-year-old son and my 6-year-old little girl. They didn't get on the radio and talk about it, so leave them alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Well, Jonathan Perry, we'll continue to follow this story. We do have an update at KPEL965.com and on our Facebook page because we're going to spread the real information on Facebook. Go ahead and share our post. We have Jonathan's video. We have our earlier interview. And once we wrap up with him right now, we will have this interview on there as well. Jonathan, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Oh,
thanks.
Listen, thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey,
have a good day.
You too.
Yeah.
Have a good week, okay? I hope the rest of the week is a little bit easier.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan.
All right, bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, it is 7 o'clock on the dot. We have a quick break we need to take, and then Bernie will have news, weather, and traffic after that.